Hello. In this webinar, we will discuss how AI can be used to control and run collaboration channels such as Teams and Yammer, using AI to read and understand your service management data and using the acquired knowledge to automate those collaboration channels, getting the business to work for and with IT, pushing out internal collaboration and self-service via these rapidly growing channels. To begin with, we will set the scene, based on fundamentals around how AI learns, and why we can harness the crowd much more in IT to set the scene around using collaboration. So what are the fundamentals around how AI learns? The biggest thing for AI is data. The more data you can feed it, the better. Not only will you get better results, but you'll also get much better learning. Because as each data stream comes in, it allows the AI to look at the sentence structures, look at how the differences in the way people describe things or the way things are explained by agents. And as it gets more variant, it can obviously improve the quality of its responses. The second real vast improvement in AI over the last 2-3 years, which makes it a viable option for managing collaboration channels, is around natural language processing. These huge improvements in the way that it reads and understands the data as people explain it. And it's this which allows us to take sentence structures that come in through tickets, through chat data, through emails, and then allow the AI to distill what the end user was trying to achieve from that sentence. So whether that being that they have a problem with Outlook, a problem with email, they can't get Skype to work, whether they want to raise a software request, whether they simply want to gain access to a system. There's many ways of describing that. And the more data we give it and the higher quality of the NLP, the more chance the AI has got of working out from that sentence what the end user wants and therefore how best to respond to it. Even if you have, though, vast amounts of data and you've got a very good NLP engine, there is no getting away from the fact you still need supervised learning. AI is not magic. You still need to train it. And the key here is targeted supervised learning. Don't just take the first 2,000 tickets and do some additional supervised learning over those. You need to run an AI session over that data. You then need to look at where it's failed to pick up the nuance or hasn't understood the question properly. And that's what you need to supervise learn on. And not only that, you need to look at where you get the biggest bang for your supervised learning. So you need to take sentence structures that repeat or ways of describing something that is consistent again and again and again. Because once you supervise learn that once, your hit rate on the tickets will be vastly higher. It's really important to pick and choose your candidates for supervised learning. And ideally, use the AI engine to suggest those candidates. So when you run the next session, you could be a much higher hit rate and a much better percentage success rate over that data. Feedback is also really important. So in order to drive user adoption and also to drive AI out through the various channels, you've got to get a feedback loop in place. So if it hasn't quite hit the mark, if it hasn't suggested the right solution or the right article, or it hasn't routed the ticket automatically to the right place, you need to ensure you're capturing that. You need to make sure that in an existing service management channel, you're either getting that back through the desk or feedback through to the agents, or for an automated channel, you need to make sure that the question you asked the end users was it helpful? Did it improve what they were trying to do? Was it meaningful to them? Did it get the answer right? Because otherwise you lose that loop. And then you have to feed that feedback back into the AI engine. So as it gets that feedback, okay, I didn't quite understand this. It flags that as something that either needs some additional supervised learning, or maybe you need to look at the pattern or the variance that's been generated around that initial sentence. But either way, that feedback is critical because that's how, again, you'll get the accuracy up, you'll get people buying into that, and you'll be able to make it a really valid option for managing a channel automatically. The last point really is around variation. So as well as taking that data from the service desk tool, which is predominantly filled in by end users through a portal or through email or through an agent update. So if it's been phone calls and the agent's typed in the summary and description that you might read, you also need it from other sources. So if you can also take it from where you might have a chatbot deployed, where you may be using email, Maybe you have an existing discussion forum or channel in place within the business that you could use to help allow the AI to learn and to improve by a slightly different sentence structure or a slightly different way of phrasing terms is going to make a vast difference in the quality of the AI. And the key thing here is that NLP uses something called text vectorization. So in simple terms, rather than just looking for keywords within the sentence structure, it's also looking for words that precede it or follow it. So it's looking at where that word is described within the whole of a sentence, not just within one part of it. And this is really critical because that's what allows you to then sort of get the semantics of the sentence, to start to understand that the way somebody articulates something could mean a difference to how that sentence is structured. Simple terms, like for example, if I say I want to eat an apple, I mean the fruit. We all know that, it's obvious. If I say I want to reboot my Apple, I'm probably talking about a PC or a laptop. So these key differences are really important in terms of the way that we learn from the sentence structures. Enterprise social networks are now an everyday part of organizations. By migrating service management functions to these channels, businesses are able to unleash the potential of their employees whilst reducing the risks that accompany flatter, faster communication. Even before the current situation, the rise of enterprise social networks was one of the key workplace stories over the last few years. Microsoft has over 500,000 organizations using Teams around the world and 91% of the Fortune 100. And that's not bad for an application that was only launched in 2017. This trend both reflects and enables the changing patterns of work. Flatter hierarchies and increased remote working have created a demand for those applications that enable real-time collaboration regardless of physical location. But they also fulfill a deeper social need among workers. In one recent academic study, The Crowd is a Collaborative Network, researchers found that workers on crowdsourcing platforms self-organized and collaborated organically without corporately endorsed social networks, despite the fact that workers were assumed to be working independently and autonomously on tasks. Grassroots networks of support and advice emerged, whether it was to share information about up-and-coming opportunities or to answer or share information around a specific task. Collaboration, it seems, was an inevitable part of work. And the study's author concluded that effective crowd working systems need to factor that in, that we actually want to help. Therefore, for example, if I'm an expert in Excel macros, someone asks a collaboration channel around how do I do this in Excel, I will want to respond. Not only will I have the opportunity to, but I will want to, and it encourages me to. People want to help. And it's an important social need that's come out of the way that collaboration tools are implemented. And where they operate well within an organization is where they reduce the inefficiencies of the other ways of working, such as email, conference calls, face-to-face meetings. But as well as their efficiency, they actually act as an important social function for workers. They become like virtual water coolers, an area to discuss specific business issues or team building, all through shared experiences. And it's a really important factor when thinking about using collaboration as a channel. And some of the business issues that people post on those channels are typically things that fall under the remit of service management. So, for example, I've got a problem installing new software, or I want to know how to log time on a new timesheet system. And those social platforms allow peer-to-peer solutions to appear, whether it's how you go about installing that third-party software, or how about there's a piece of knowledge that you know that you want to share with your co-workers. And it's empowering for employees. And it can also reduce the pressure on internal IT help desks. But it's also potentially unsettling, particularly for organizations that have a top-down control. And in a worst-case scenario, it could prove disruptive to core business functions. So how do we reconcile the risk with the opportunity that it presents? One option with this is to use AI. And I think it has a key role playing a part as a moderator in a collaborative future. And I think it can do that in two ways. Firstly, as a participant. So imagine a discussion between co-workers on Teams about problems they're having getting their microphone to work on the platform. AI could identify the issue and serve as a knowledge article to the entire group that explains how to change the default mic settings. All of a sudden, you've hit multiple users in one go and you've done it automatically. A really important thing. Collaboration allows us to hit multiple people in one go. Or imagine there's a discussion about how you want to compile management information. AI could chip into that discussion and direct the group to the company's preferred reporting solution, saving users time, but also reducing the risk. Because rather than those users saying, we can't generate those reports, why do we do it in Excel? Or we do it in a different way? AI has controlled that conversation, pointed them to the corporate reporting tool, and that's stopped that happening. So therefore, it's reducing the risk. I think the second way that AI could have benefits as an analyst. So where it recognizes the pattern of a conversation, it might pick up the fact that people within the organization, let's say, for example, are looking to create a distribution list. They could relay that information to the IT team, who can decide to release a self-help document or arrange some training on it. Because it can understand where that pattern's going, and even if it doesn't know the answer, it can still flag that as a potential problem. And enterprise social networks are opening up a rich seam of business data for organizations. So where that collaboration can be fed back into the AI, the knowledge it is gleaning is hugely important. Aside from the current scenario, which has accelerated some of this, I think collaboration platforms will always set to become increasingly important and an effective channel for service management. And unlike traditional channels where issues are resolved one-on-one, as I've already touched on, the big advantage of enterprise social is its reach. It can hit so many people in one go. Both acting as a participant in that collaborative platform, as well as an analyst, AI will perform a vital role as a moderator within these networks, meaning businesses can harness and encourage the potential of their employees whilst reducing the risk of misinformation. Instead of people taking out of the equation of work, which is the doomsday scenario among AI skeptics, actually, the machine learning becomes collaborative with those employees, engaging them to work more effectively, more efficiently, and with a greater sense of empowerment. Having covered the fundamentals around how AI learns and how we can use the crowd within a collaborative space, how do we best apply AI to support collab? So if we want to make collaboration a service management channel, first of all, we can use AI to control that channel and respond to that channel. So for example, if I'm within Teams and I do @support, and then I type in my question, the AI can respond back. It can send back the knowledge article, or it can send back the answer, or it can direct them to the right request to raise. So we can use AI to activate that Teams channel. Or within a Yammer discussion style channel, we can have people open up a discussion for a problem or an issue that they're having, and have the AI respond back to that channel with an answer, with the solution or the next step to take. We can also use AI to monitor that channel. So to address the risk of controlling the crowd, we can use AI to look at when topics are being raised, where there's a central answer from IT that it can respond back with. It can maintain a level of control over these channels. So you can get some of the benefit of having the opportunity to address multiple people in one hit, yet to retain some of the control. But we need to make sure that we're not empowering shadow IT, or that the solutions that are being provisioned are not the incorrect solutions. We can also use it to add value. So if the AI isn't giving something back, then people won't respond to it. You won't get a good user experience from it. You need to make sure that as AI is monitoring those channels or responding back to those channels, it's adding real value. So it's sending the right solution. End users can support themselves more quickly and more readily because they're getting the right answer back straight away. And if we can get AI right, it then allows us to proliferate that channel and extend its remit, because people will find it useful and they'll find it quicker. And therefore, you've got the massive opportunity to leverage them. We also need to make sure we control the feedback loop. So as I mentioned earlier on, feedback is really key. So we need to find out what AI is learning and finding and feed that back into the system. We can also feed that to other areas of IT. So for example, if it's managing the Yammer and the Teams threads and it can see what's happening, we need to feed that back into the incident, problem and knowledge management chains. Because if it's discovering that something is happening, then we need to make sure we capture that within problem management. If we understand that people are constantly asking the same questions, then we need to feed that into knowledge management so we can act upon it and respond back with the right self-service article. So we may lose this nuance through people either not ringing the desk or asking colleagues outside of the chat tools, and we won't get that information. We won't know that this is a constant thing that people are asking for, and therefore by that nature we're already losing some of that control. But by opening up the discussion forum and having AI feedback means we can track that and we can put a proper validated solution in place. And I think finally, you need to make sure that enough time is spent up front looking at the analytics that AI can glean from your existing data to make sure that the user experience when it then responds within those collaboration channels is as good as it can be. So it's really important that the upfront analysis is done. We make sure we've got enough value within the AI to underpin that channel, because that will make it successful and that will make the adoption much better. So how can we leverage Teams and Yammer themselves? First of all, by using the power of teamwork, as we sort of covered in the previous topic. So we can hit multiple users in one go. We can harness the power of the crowd to collaborate between themselves, thus reducing the amount of effort that we need to make in terms of IT. That allows us to reallocate some of those internal resources to help and respond to those channels, or to improve the level of knowledge that we've got available through self-service. Effectively, we're allowing the IT people to focus on much more detailed solutions and problem management rather than the initial response, because we can then let AI run and monitor that within those collab tools. I think also we can gain some of the efficiency and the ease of use of these tools. So we get immediate employee engagement, we get immediate feedback. If I'm on a collaboration channel and I'm responding with my colleagues and or I'm collaborating with AI, I've got the opportunity to say straight away whether something's worked or not. I've got the opportunity to engage and respond. Much different to many of the other service management channels that are predominantly static. Also, it's an existing channel. So in terms of enablement, it's really simple. Now, most of your estate will already be on Teams. In terms of being able to switch that on, able to start using it, it's really easy and simple to deploy. So it gives us a massive opportunity in service management to leverage a completely new channel with very limited cost. What's more is it allows us to reduce costs. Because if we can increase the level of self-service and we can harness the crowd to solve some of the problems for us, that's a huge cost saving from IT, as well as improving end user experience. Actually has a double positive, which is quite rare in terms of most of the other channels that we enable. So now we're going to look at some simple examples of where we have used AI to respond back in a Yammer conversation or within a Teams conversation. So in the examples here, they're quite simple, but it's Outlook connecting to Exchange within Yammer. That's appeared as a discussion thread where AI has then responded, and within Teams, a question has been asked of IT, and it's responded back with some simple troubleshooting steps. And I think here, in both cases, we've used collaboration, we've opened it up as a service management channel. Other people could have responded back to that thread as well, so we can harness the power of the crowd. We've got experts that sit all over our business, which we don't always use constructively, whereas here they could respond back, yet the AI can also monitor and respond in that channel as well. Therefore, it just gives this sense of IT working with the business. It brings a sense that actually it's part of the business and it's not a necessary evil, and we're all working together to try and solve those IT problems. The next thing I want to touch on is the learning cycle. So we start with the analytics, okay? So we start about teaching AI how to garner those key analytics from that existing data. So that's using the text vectorization that we spoke about earlier on, using NLP to understand pre-existing tickets and pre-existing IT information in order to not only understand what's happening within our estate now, but also to train the AI. who understands how to respond and answer the questions that are pertinent just for our industry or just for our company. We will then do a level of supervised learning, so provide key training where it adds the most value, where we're going to train the AI most efficiently. We're then going to integrate it. So we're going to ensure that AI is a constant real-time feed of data. So from the ticket system all the way through to our collaboration tool and our bot. We're then going to allow the AI to start responding, to respond to those issues, respond to those requests through those channels. We're then going to capture that conversation and how it's evolved, and we're going to feed that back into the engine. The engine's constantly learning and therefore can add more value next time. We're then going to report where the effectiveness can be improved, where we can leverage existing processes, where we can provide a better feedback cycle into the AI. That's going to be key out of some of the reports that we get back from the channels. Feed that back into the model. The model starts to constantly learn, and then it goes back around the same cycle. As it learns, we have another set of trends. We redo the analytics. We further do an area of supervised learning, then we improve it. So we go back around this learning cycle, ever improving the way that AI is driving those channels and managing those channels. So finally, let's recap on what we've covered today. Firstly, using collaboration as a service management channel is simple to do, and it can be really powerful. We've already got the channel out in the business. So in terms of the communications, in terms of starting to use it, it's really easy to turn that on. We can leverage the power of the crowd. So we can leverage the knowledge we've got within the rest of our business units to help IT. And we can control that. We can use the analytics that we can garner through AI to feed into a constant learning cycle, and therefore a period of constant improvement. We can produce results faster and quicker by enabling efficiency in problem and knowledge management. Because all this information that we're getting, we can feed back into those processes, therefore more quickly improving our self-service and more quickly improving and removing issues that are plaguing IT day after day. We can ensure it adds value when it's deployed, because we want to make sure it's responding back with the right articles, the right requests. And then we can support it and continue to refine it through the closed loop of the constant learning cycle. And therefore we continually make it better. And a really good example of this is an employee might ask a question on the Tuesday, but by the Thursday he gets a better answer. And there's nothing more satisfying as an end user to know that actually IT is responding to your needs and it's improving and it's taking on board your feedback. And that's, again, another example of where collaboration could be such an effective channel. I mean, thank you very much for listening today. We're going to move into questions now. Thanks.